What's up, guys? It's Bumpkins. Today is Wednesday, March 16th. Wednesday means New Comic Book Day. New Comic Book Day means New Comic Book Haul video. As always, I went down to Infinity Flux here in Chattanooga, Tennessee for another big old stack of books, but only about half of these are new issues that came out today. The rest of them are back issues, so in that regard, it was actually a little bit smaller of a week than it normally is, but I balanced that out with some back issues and some extra goodies as well. Real quick, guys. If you are looking for a comic shop of your own, if you don't have one or if you need a different one, and you want to open a pull list, reach out to Infinity Flux. They'll be linked or tagged, or however you're watching this, there'll be a way to get in touch with them. If you need a pull list, if you need to start one so that you can have books sent to you on a regular basis, reach out to them and just let them know what you'd like to add, and they can help you out. Let's go ahead and get started, though, because this is just a weird week. There's a little bit of some, and there's more of others, and then there's some other cool stuff in here, so we'll just get started with Amazing Spider-Man number 92.BEY. These BEY issues are kind of like tie-ins, so if you think about something like Devil's Reign or Death of Doctor Strange, there's always the main story, and then there's always tie-ins, and these .BEY issues are kind of like the tie-ins where they do add to the story, but they're not necessary, and this one isn't really required either. We do get some cool... I want to say Captain Marvel, but it's not Captain Marvel. It's Monica Rambeau. I just don't know what her name is in the comics now. I think it's Spectrum. I think is the name she's going by now. She's in this. She gets some cool moments. We do get some cool moments at the end that looks like it might set up something that happens in whatever the last part is going to be in Beyond. I think it's which I think comes out 2 weeks from today. I thought it was supposed to come out next week. So it looks like we're going to be... we're going to skip a week, and then we're going to see the last part of the Beyond storyline. And there's another cliffhanger in here as well with a couple other characters, so this was fine. It added a little bit to the overall Beyond storyline, but if you were to skip it, you'd be okay too. I really just am looking forward to the last part, which, again, I guess comes out in a couple weeks, and see how it all wraps up. Next up from Marvel, one that I'm not really sure why I bought, but it was Eternals, the Heretic number 1. This is a one-shot featuring Thanos and his great uncle, Uranos. I don't know why I bought this, because I'm not currently reading the current Eternals series. I did read the first 6 issues, and they were good, but it was one of those that I didn't need every month, so I just stopped buying those, and I've got the trade for the first one. I'll probably get the trade for the next one. But, I don't know. I have the other Eternals one-shots, so I guess I thought maybe I should get this one too. I did start reading it today, and I just felt like I wasn't getting as much out of it as I would have if I were reading the current Eternals run. So I'll probably catch up on that and then jump into this one. And then, surprisingly, last one for Marvel. I only got 3 Marvel books this week. Reckoning War, Trial of the Watcher number 1. This one was weird but cool at the same time. So this one is essential. So this one's neat because myself and plenty of other people over the course of time have always joked about the Watcher claims that he is sworn to never interfere, but for someone who doesn't interfere, he interferes a lot, like with different events. We see him all the time. Seems like every time there's a big event in Marvel, he's always there, and he always interferes in some way. Well, that's addressed in this. So the trial of the Watcher is, hey, Uatu, you interfere a lot. Here's your punishment. So all the other Watchers sort of punish him. And the way they punish him is to show him what would have... So then it becomes a what-if book. This is a straight-up what-if book. And it's basically, what if the Watcher never helped the Fantastic Four way back in Fantastic Four number 48 when Galactus and Silver Surfer first showed up to Earth? Because in those classic stories, I actually read those for my History of Marvel videos probably a year ago or so, so it's still pretty fresh in my mind. When Galactus and Silver Surfer showed up for the first time, the Watcher actually showed up as well and helped. Didn't like straight up interfere, but he sort of nudged things in the direction of the favor of Fantastic Four. This is, what if he didn't? What if he truly just stayed off to the side and let everything take its course? Now, I'm not going to say anything more after that, because as I was reading this, I just thought, wow, I wonder what bad thing's going to happen. Usually in the what if books, something changes, and then it always ends kind of in a bad way, right? But reading this, I thought, are they really doing this? Are they really going to do that? Oh, is this what would have happened? So I won't say anything else, but it was really interesting. So if you aren't reading Reckoning War, but you still want a cool what if story, you can still pick this up. It references some of the events that are happening in Reckoning War, but the vast majority of this issue is simply, what if the Watcher didn't interfere when Galactus and Silver Surfer showed up the first time? It was really interesting. I don't know, it's crazy how, and that's and it's canon now too. Sorry, I'm rambling because it was so cool. But yeah, I definitely recommend this one. Like I said, even if you're not reading Reckoning War, but you like What If, definitely pick this one up. So as for DC, it was a slightly smaller DC week as well, but still more than Marvel. The first one we've got here is Detective Comics 1057, right? Yeah, 1057. This is the part 11 of the Arkham Tower storyline, so we have one more part to go. And like I said last week, the veil has been lifted. Everything's been revealed with Arkham Tower. And yeah, it's just, we're just ramping up to the finale. I don't want to say which villain the heroes are going after, because I don't want to spoil any of the story if you haven't read it yet. But it's wrapping up to be a good finale, and it's been a really good story. Flash 780. So I have been buying these regularly, but I'm way behind on them. But I did read this issue because it's part 3 of the War for Earth 3 crossover that's been going on with Suicide Squad, Teen Titans Academy, and then the 2 War for Earth 3 books, I think, is all that there is. This almost felt more like a tie-in. So like what we talked about with the .BEY issues with Amazing Spider-Man, this almost felt like a tie-in, even though it's labeled as part 3. But this really is just, at least half this book is referring to events that have happened in Flash so far, which I didn't know what they were talking about because I haven't read it. There's only, at most, half of this book that even relates to the War for Earth 3, and it's only with Johnny Quick as he is trying to steal the Cosmic Treadmill. And that's it. There's none of the other characters are in there. So if you skipped this and you just read that, well, I don't even know, the next part is Teen Titans Academy. I don't even know how much that's going to figure in either. So it was a fine issue, but again, it just felt like a tie-in for the overall crossover. But you guys know I'm a sucker. I have to get all the tie-ins for all this stuff. So either way, I would have picked this one up. Justice League number 74. So I'm still way behind on Justice League as well. We've only got one more. I guess its next issue is when the Justice League dies. Really, what I'm most interested in with the Justice League dying is just what it's going to look like and how they come back. Or do they really die? Are they going to be trapped in time like Batman was and Captain America was? I don't know. They're going to come back. It's weird, but I'm going to catch up before. I'll probably wait until 75 comes out. And then I'll catch up on this whole run of Justice League, or at least this storyline from whenever Bendis took over, and in preparation for Dark Crisis, because I am interested in that, even though it's another Crisis event. I'm a sucker for that stuff. So yeah, I didn't read this one, but I am curious to see how it all shakes out. Nightwing 90. So Nightwing 89 was the first part of a 2-part crossover with John Kent, which was an awesome story. That little 2-part crossover was fantastic. I loved seeing Nightwing hang out with John Kent, and I was able to read that even though I haven't read any of the other Tom Taylor issues of Nightwing so far. I've got them all in my bat box, which is somewhere, but I was able to read issue 89. So what I thought I might do is just go rogue and just keep going. Like, hey, since I've read 89 of Nightwing, I'll just keep going. I tried to start reading this, and yeah, it was heavily referencing things that I didn't know what was going on. So I stopped, so I'm just going to add this back to the bat box and get caught up when I get caught up with all that other stuff. Titans United number 7. So this is the last issue of this maxi? It's not a mini or a maxi, really. But this is the last issue of this limited series. And it was fine. Just like every other issue, it was fine. It was a good story. I don't want to say one and done because it was 7 issues, but it was just a fine story that, we'll probably read good in trade. You can read it on DC Universe Infinite. These actually came out day and date on that platform as it did in shops, but I picked up the physical. I've been picking up the physical copies because I love these covers. So I do have all of these variant covers for the whole series. The ending was fine. I mean, just everything about it was just very fine. It wasn't great. It didn't knock my socks off, but it wasn't bad either. It was pretty average. I'm not sad that it's done, but I am glad that I do have these pretty covers to look at. And then last for DC, probably my favorite, just, plain single issue that I've picked up and read this week so far is Batman Superman World's Finest #1. And also, I went with the A cover. There was a lot of cool, really cool variant covers for this issue. I went with the A cover because I love Dan Mora's artwork. He's probably in my top 5 favorite artists right now. And I also love just the classics. I love classic blue and gray Batman with the yellow oval. I love classic Superman, even though we pretty much have classic Superman in current comics anyway with the red trunks and all that. But I just love the classics, right? And this felt like a good, probably late 70s, early 80s DC book. It really, with just more modernized artwork. It was wonderful. So this does take place on the very first page. It says, in the not too distant past, as evident by the more classic looks. You've got Dick Grayson as Robin, but he's not Kid Dick Grayson, but he's not all the way Nightwing yet. He's still in the mostly classic Robin costume, although he's wearing pants. And they're facing off against Metallo and Poison Ivy. There's a guest appearance by another group, which I won't say who it is. I don't want to spoil anything. And then there's also these mysterious figures in the shadows kind of watching over everything. It was awesome. Like, I would love a whole line of this type of storytelling. Like, if DC were to do, like, some kind of ultimate universe, like, Marvel's Ultimate Universe, but make it more like this, where it's just stories kind of set in the past. Superman and Lois aren't married. Lois doesn't know who Superman is yet. Like, it just felt like a good old-fashioned classic story with amazing artwork. I loved it. I am definitely on board for every issue to come. I hope Dan Mora stays on it forever. Mark Waid is a writer. Mark Waid he's one of the top writers in the history of comics. He's a big time Superman guy. I just love the classic feel of this. It just hit me right where I live. I love the classic stuff, and I absolutely loved this issue. So we've actually got a few more Image books than we normally do this time, all thanks to Spawn. So first up is King Spawn #8. This is just going to go in my Spawn pile down here because I haven't read it, but I'm glad to have it. And then along with that is The Scorched #3. This is the A cover, I think, which is fine, but I could not resist getting the X-Men #1 homage cover. This is super cool. I think this is going to be a connecting cover with at least 2 or maybe 3 other Spawn titles. They're not all going to be Scorched titles. I think maybe Gunslinger Spawn is one of them, and King Spawn or regular Spawn, or I don't know. Whatever they are, it's going to be awesome. So I think the idea is that when you put them all together, it's going to be just like the connecting covers of Jim Lee's X-Men #1 from back in 1992. Or was it 91? 91, I think. But yeah, this was super cool. So even though I got the regular cover, I could not pass this up. This is such a cool cover. And then speaking of Spawn and cool homage covers, this came out last week, and I forgot to pick it up, but I was able to get it today. Spawn #327, the awesome Todd McFarlane Spider-Man #1 homage with Haunt. What's really cool about this one is this one was drawn by Todd McFarlane. So, normally you get things like this where... So this is drawn by McFarlane, but after Jim Lee. Or normally when you get homage covers, it's one artist drawing it in tribute to another artist. This is McFarlane doing tribute to himself, which is really cool. Like I said, I haven't read any Spawn, so this is going to go down in the Spawn stack here. But yeah, I was super happy to get this because that cover looks awesome. I love the cover to Spider-Man #1, and I love this cover too. Next up is the Silver Coin #10. So, I love the Silver Coin. Issues 2, 3, and 4 were a miss, but everything else has been great, and this one was pretty great too. So this one is a little bit different in that it doesn't involve somebody down on their luck finding the silver coin, good things happening, and then bad things happening. This is actually a little bit more... this actually sort of gives you a little bit more insight into the inner workings of the coin and what actually is going on. Now, bad things still happen, but it's really interesting. We get to learn a little bit more about the coin and the dark forces behind it. There's at least one panel here that actually kind of references some of the other issues that we've seen before, which is pretty interesting because these are all self-contained stories. This is like an anthology series. Every story is its own self-contained thing. It takes place in different times with different characters. But this one actually does very slightly reference some of the other issues we've seen. So I thought, well, that was pretty cool. It was cool learning a little bit more about the coin and why it is how it is. And yeah, this one is... I say that a lot of books are better read in trade. This one is a great one to read in single issues because, again, every month it's just its own story. Knowing what happened before is kind of helpful, but it's not necessary. And yeah, this one is really good. I look forward to this one every single month. Next up from Image is a new one, Slumber #1. So basically, this is about this woman here whose name, Stetson, I think is her name. She is a, what do they call her? A dream killer or a nightmare killer or a dream detective or something like that. I just read it. I should remember this. Basically what she does is, though, if you are having horrible nightmares, you can go see her. She will enter your nightmares and take out whatever is in your nightmare that's responsible for those nightmares, and you'll have no nightmares anymore. What's interesting about this is there has been a string of 7 murders, and she is somehow linked to them. She's not the murderer, but the sprawled on the walls of these murder scenes is, find me the dream killer or the nightmare killer, whatever she's called, So she's going to get wrapped up in this. The first half of it was fine. It was a little bit confusing what was going on, but by the time you get to the end of the book, it makes a lot more sense. And the ending ended on a really cool cliffhanger. So I really like this story. I am going to wait for trade. I think this is another one that's better read in trade. But yeah, the artwork, I'm not sure if the interior artist did this one, but the artwork is a slightly more cartoony, but it's still graphic. So it still feels very adult. So yeah, this one was really cool. If dreams and weird possessions and things like that are your bag, then I think you'll like this one. And then last from Image is Stillwater the Escape. This is a one-shot. I did not read this one yet because I have not yet read the Stillwater Volume 2 trade paperback, but I am going to get to that at some point. After I read that, I'll read this. I don't know if I need to read that first, but when I don't know, I just stick with release order. But yeah, Stillwater is really cool. I can't wait to dive into that second issue. If you don't know, Stillwater is about a town where people don't die literally. Like, you can fall off a building and get, smashed to pieces and you will come back to life. The main character of the story arrives at Stillwater and they won't let him leave because they're afraid the secret's going to get out, and there's like mysterious stuff going on. At least that was in the first trade. I don't know how the story has evolved since then. And I'm not really sure what this particular one-shot is about or how it fits, but I can't wait to find out. And then last for the new books this week is Life Zero #2. So this one is... I do like this one. I love the art. Marco Cicchetto, he's one of my favorite artists right now as well. He's killing it on Daredevil and then Devil's Reign. He had some... my first time I saw his work was when he did like a run on The Punisher from a few years ago with Daredevil and Spider-Man. That was super cool. That was really good. So his artwork is what drew me to this book, but the story's pretty good too. Now, it does seem like it's your standard zombie apocalypse. The first issue was this paramilitary group busting into a prison to rescue their captain, this guy here. And the tail end of the first issue is they got out. I mean, then now what? So this issue, they're breaking out. They're still trying to get away from the zombies. They are trying. We get introduced to a new character in this. They're still trying to make a game plan because he's trying to find his daughter as well, but they also got to figure out how to get out of the city. So it's good, but there's nothing that really separates it from like other post-apocalyptic zombie type stories. It's a little bit more action-y, I guess, than Walking Dead is. But it's still pretty good. Like, I still like those kind of stories as well. The ending was pretty interesting, so I'm definitely going to pick up the next one as well. I'm probably going to... Unless it gets worse, which the first two have been pretty good, I'm going to just keep getting this in individual issues because I do want to read them each month. So I don't know if it's a mini-series or an ongoing. I have no idea. But yeah, this one is really good. So if you're just sort of craving for, another zombie apocalypse story, this is a good one. Okay, so that was all of the new books. So we've still got some cool back issues as well. I got a few from the dollar bins and then a few from the regular back issues as well. So from the dollar bins, just because they had all 4, and this kind of tickles me in the nostalgia bones, Captain America and the Falcon #1, and #2, and #3, and #4 with art by Bart Sears. He draws these exaggerated, like real big hulking guys. But there's something endearing about that, and it, like I said, it takes me back to the 90s. So yeah, I just thought I'd pick these up since they were all there. Next one I picked up is Sinister War number 3, which I have, but I got this one because I have 2 of the other covers that look like something out of the Marvel Handbook. I think it was Rhino, and maybe it was Lady Dr. Octopus. I don't quite remember. Maybe it was Lady, maybe it was Elektra, the female Elektra, I'm not sure. But because I had those 2, and this was in the dollar bin, I thought, hey, I will add to that collection of covers. The next one is the first issue of The Brave and the Bold, the 2007 Brave and the Bold, featuring my 2 favorite DC characters, Batman and Green Lantern, also written by Mark Waid from Batman Superman World's Finest, which I love, and drawn by George Perez, the wonderful George Perez, and we're going to talk about him in a little bit later. But I have read this before, but I don't have it in a physical issue. So yeah, it was sitting there for $1. Mark Waid, George Perez, Green Lantern, Batman. That for $1, absolutely, yes please, I will buy that every time I see it. And then the last dollar book, and one that I thought was cool, the official Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover index. So this is from 1985. And this just sort of, this isn't a story, so it's not like a tie-in with the Crisis on Infinite Earths from back in 85, but what this is like the title says, it's basically an index to let you know like who all these different characters are, what issues they show up in, that kind of thing. So that's pretty cool. Like when I first read Crisis, I was still fairly green to hardcore DC reading, and I didn't know who a lot of the people were, so this would have been cool at the time. So I do have like an older printing of Crisis in paperback, and then I bought a newer hardcover just last year, and I've been wanting to jump into that again. So whenever I do that, I'm probably going to crack this open as well, and maybe that will help me pick up on some things I missed. So that was all of the dollar back issues, but I got some of the regular price back issues as well. I'm super excited for Moon Knight. It's coming out in about a week or 2 weeks from today, right? Yeah, 2 weeks from today, actually. So I've been studying for Moon Knight by reading some older stories that I missed, both from the 80s and more recently. And so I went Moon Knight crazy because they just, my comic shop actually, they've been accumulating some older Moon Knight books over time. And they just yesterday, I think, or maybe the day before, put them in a long box and we got them all priced out, and there's a whole big new box full of Moon Knight back issues to look at. So I went crazy in those. So I picked up a few. I got this, looks like a one-shot, like a square-bound one-shot Moon Knight Divided We Fall. I have no idea when this came out. I have no idea what it's about. But I just thought, I don't know who the creative team is, nothing. But, I just thought it would be cool to have. The next one I got is Moon Knight Special Edition number 2. So I bought this one because back when I was a kid and I was really when I was first getting into seriously collecting comics like on a regular basis, I found like a 4-pack of comics like at Walmart or something. And one of the books in there was Moon Knight Special Edition number 3. At that point, I had heard of Moon Knight, but I knew almost nothing about him. I opened it up. I was like, wait, he's 3 different guys? What's that all about? He's a cab driver and a millionaire? That's weird. And I didn't know anything about him, but the art was cool, and I still sort of found it intriguing. But that's the only one of that I ever found. Today I found Moon Knight Special Edition number 2. There was only 3 of them, 3 issues created, so now I just need to find number 1. But basically what these special editions are is they recollect stories from both the Hulk magazine. So there was some Moon Knight backup stories in the old Hulk magazine from the early 80s. And then, it's from one other place as well. Not the Moon Knight proper title, but he popped up somewhere else, and I can't quite remember. I'll have to try to find that out. But yeah, so this is a recollection of some older stories, but I just thought it would be cool to go with my other one. And then the last set of Moon Knight books that I pulled out of that box was some that I was hoping to find. It's 5 of the 6 issues of the 1985 Moon Knight Fist of Consu limited series. So in 1985, this is basically the second volume of Moon Knight. So Moon Knight ran for like 35 or 38 issues, I think, from, I can't remember which, starting back in 1980 all the way through however long it lasted, a couple years, I guess. And then in 1985, they released this 6-issue miniseries. There's only 5 of them here. They didn't have number 2. but it's called Moon Knight Fist of the Consu. The reason I thought this would be cool to get is because this miniseries, and this isn't a spec thing for me, I just thought it would be cool to have these and read them. But I thought this miniseries would be cool to get because, from what I understand, this miniseries is the first time that they treat Moon Knight's multiple identities as more of a dissociative identity disorder, like what he's known for now, than just him having 3 separate secret identities by choice. I think the idea is that this miniseries sort of tries to explain that as a result of him trying to keep up with all these different identities, he now develops some kind of dissociative identity disorder. And of course, back then they sort of had the science behind it wrong a little bit. But yeah, so, and I know that the series is going to deal with that. Now, I don't know if they're going to bring in the Jake Lockley persona. It looks like they're just dealing with Mark Spector and Stephen Grant. But because the series is doing that, they're focusing on that aspect of Moon Knight. I wanted to read the origins of that aspect of the character as well. So that shows up in this. So I'll show you the covers real quick. So this is number 1. And number 3, which is weird, he's got a face. He looks more like the Spectre from DC, so I don't know what all that is about. But he's also got this symbol on his chest too, which that doesn't stick around for too long. And then number 4, where I guess he's fighting a pirate. And number 5, where he's fighting some kind of ninja, I guess. And then number 6, which is a cool Bill Sienkiewicz cover. So yeah, I just thought that would be... I was going to try to get these... I was going to buy these digitally, because they are available on Comixology. So if you guys want to check that out. But when they were there in the box, I thought, hey, let's go ahead and grab those up, because I feel like this miniseries is maybe a little bit lesser known, and I just thought it would be cool to have. But the fun doesn't stop there. I got a few cool collected editions as well, starting with A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance, Volume 1, trade paperback. I did get the first issue when it came out. I thought it was really cool, but again, I thought it would be a story better read in trade. The first trade finally came out today, so I cannot wait to dive into this and see. I've heard some good things about this book, so I can't wait to see just how good it is. Next one is Out of Body, the trade paperback. This collects the 5-issue miniseries from Aftershock. I did get the first 3 and thought it was really interesting. I missed out on 4 and 5, and rather than try to hunt those down, I just figured, I'll just wait for the trade, because again, it's a little bit better read in trade. So the trade paperback came out today, so I thought I would grab this one as well. One cool thing I picked up, not really a collected edition or a back issue, it's something a little bit different, but I love these, and I'm trying to collect these whenever I find them. This is an Amazing Spider-Man book and record set from Power Records, not Tower Records, Power Records. This is basically, it's comic book size. It might be a little bit longer than your standard comic, but in the back there's a record. There's a small, is it 7-inch? I'm not sure, vinyl, that you pop in your record player, and voice actors act out the story as you read along. So I've shown some of these before. I think I picked up a Superman one from my shop in the past, and then I still have the ones that I had when I was a kid. I had a Superpowers, I think I had 2 Superpowers ones, and a really good Batman one that I used to love as a kid. I still remember it if I heard it yesterday. I still remember all the sounds. I had a He-Man one, so I love those. So yeah, I just saw this, and I just love these. They have another one that I'm going to go back and get, but I'd already bought enough today. So, but yeah, I love these. So anytime I find these see and reads or book and record set or whatever they're called, there's different versions of these that they put out in the 70s and 80s. I'm going to pick them up because I just think these are super duper cool. And then last but certainly not least, my favorite thing that I picked up today that I was super fortunate to be able to get was the JLA Avengers trade paperback. So this is, George Perez, Kurt Busiek writing it. This collects the 4-issue JLA Avengers miniseries, penciled by George Perez. So if you guys are watching this, you probably know the story behind this, but basically, Hero Initiative, which is an organization that helps out, helps provide benefits to comic creators. They're a charitable organization, and we've all heard the sad news about George Perez, about his cancer diagnosis, and his limited time left with us on this planet. Hero Initiative was able to produce a new collected edition of this miniseries. They produced only 7,000 of these, 7,000 copies of these, and there's about 2,000 comic shops in the United States. So comic shops could order however many they wanted, but that definitely wasn't a guarantee that they were going to get them. So my shop actually got 4. They were lucky enough to be able to get 4. They did auction 2 on their Facebook live show from this past Sunday, with all the proceeds going to the Hero Initiative. I think by auctioning off 2 of those books, they were able to raise $300 for the Hero Initiative, which is super cool. And then the other 2, and I wasn't able to participate in that because I don't do Facebook, so I unfortunately missed that whole thing. But then with the other 2, they just drew names out of a hat for everybody who let them know that they wanted one of these. Everybody just, hey, put me in the drawing for it. And I wanted to be put in the drawing, and I was very fortunate that my name got drawn. So I didn't win the book, like I just got the opportunity to buy it. So, and I was very happy to. So yeah, I think I've read this before. I think I had the original issues because I have read it, but I have no idea where they are. But I was just so over the moon to be able to get this. I've heard some horrible stories of people trying to buy them up and sell them for a hugely inflated price, just like all scummy scalpers do with like game consoles and stuff. This will never leave my possession. Definitely not a scalper or anything. Like I just love George Perez. I loved this story when I read it. I love these characters. So I was super happy to get this because I don't know that this will ever be collected again. This is from an era where Marvel and DC were able to work with each other. I don't know that they could now, especially given that Marvel is owned by a mega corporation and DC has been owned by a mega corporation. I don't know that we'll ever see them work together again. So yeah, this might be the last time this story is collected. But yeah, so Infinity Flux, thank you for picking my name out of the hat, and yeah, so I was just super happy to have this, and I cannot wait to revisit it. And that's it, guys. What I thought was going to be a shorter video because I had a smaller haul ended up actually being a little bit longer one because I got some cool stuff. Even though it was a smaller week, there was still some cool stuff to be had. So guys, I appreciate you watching. If you like this video or any of the other videos on my channel, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give it a sarcastic thumbs up. And if nothing else, just leave me a comment down below and let me know what you picked up this week. Were you able to pick up the JLA Avengers trade? Are you boning up for Moon Knight? Did you get any dollar issues? Whatever you got, just let me know. I love comic books. I could talk about them with a room full of people or just to a camera. And guys, don't forget, comic books are supposed to be fun. They're just another fun form of storytelling. There is so much good stuff out there to look through. Find something you like, enjoy it. If there's something out there you don't like, just disregard it. It's not going to hurt you that it exists, and there's guaranteed to be somebody out there that likes it. So just let those folks like what they like, and you like what you like. Also, don't forget, it doesn't matter how much you buy each week or each month. What makes a great comic book haul is that whatever you got is special to you, is important to you, gets you excited about comics, gets you excited to sit down and read and enjoy the stories inside. Whether it's 1 book, 10 books, 100 books, it doesn't matter. Just as long as you really enjoy what you bought, that's what makes a great comic book haul. So guys, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.